eNCA's Pule Letshwiti Jones, of course, has glared over this document. We've got him back again now to give us some clarity into what exactly were some of those key highlights in that over 900-page report. Pule, good to have you back. Tell us more about some of those key officials who were implicated in this report.
Well, a very good morning, Dumelo. And yes, we spent the entire evening just trying to read and find out who are some of these key high-profile politicians in the ANC who were implicated in this report. Now, what you basically get to find out when reading volume part 3 is that, Bosasa benefited quite extensively from some of these agreements that they had allegedly with these politicians. They spent about 75 million on bribing some of the ANC members, of course, and of course office bearers. While that's the case as well, they got about over 2 billion in business contracts and tenders. And what we do know is that some of the top players within the ANC who were involved, of course, include the former president, Jacob Zuma, include, of course, Nomvula Mokonyane, Thabang Makwetla, Cedric Frolic, and, of course, there are quite other office bearers who were implicated in the report, which, of course, includes the likes of Gwede Mantashe. But while this is the case, we understand that the report has also said that the former president, Jacob Zuma, benefited quite extensively with about 300,000 cash flow moving into his foundation, and, of course, his birthdays being sponsored as well. He goes on to make allegations that amongst them were, of course, Nomvula Mokonyane, who had benefited and received an amount of 50,000 monthly from Bosasa. Remember, she denied this as well. She had also denied having the Bosasa boss, Angela Greedy, at her party, saying that she didn't quite know that he was there. Neither did she deny this. And Zondo was, of course, of the view that this could not have been the case because Greedy is physically big, and she would have known if whether he was at her party. But while this is the case as well, do you understand that there's the likes of Dudumieni, who's also been accused of ensuring that there were contracts given to Bosasa as well, and also receiving the amounts of 300,000 rand, Timelo, in Louis Vuitton bags, ensuring that the docket, which would have had Bosasa held accountable, which was in the hands of the Hawks, went missing, and she did away with that. So these are the kind of things that we looked into in the report, and quite extensively you get to realize that Bosasa had, of course, bribed some of the officials, and in return for this were favors. You'd also remember that there was an issue of the war room, the ANC war room, which was established where the party was using the officers of Bosasa to actually speak about their election plans. And while that's the case, the commission, of course, also wants that to be investigated to try and find out as to whether office bearers were being influenced during those war room meetings to award contracts to Bosasa.
Right, and I know that with those allegations in the report and, of course, those findings, rather than the names that we have just mentioned, some are on the screen right now, Zuma, Mantashe, Mokonyane, you mentioned some of them, Thabang Makwetla, Papa Lishabane, the Watson family, children at least, including the late Gavin Watson. Do we know if some of them will be taking action, Pule, following this report?
Yesterday we spent almost the whole night as well trying to get comments from them. I sent at least SMSs to almost everyone who was allegedly implicated in the report. And what we understand is that we've seen that the Jacob Zuma Foundation says it will be in consultation with its lawyers to see how they can try to take the matter forward and challenge this. We also do understand that the ANC NEC member Nomvula Mokonyane has responded to eNCA saying that she's in consultations with the lawyers in terms of taking this matter forward. Remember, she had an interview with my colleagues Pamandla Goga during the January 8th in Limpopo, and in which she said if she is implicated, she will then take it from there. But while that's the case, we also do understand that, the ANC chairperson and, of course, Minister of Energy, Gwede Mantashe, says that he will be taking the report on review and has said that, there's quite a lot of allegations that have been made against him, which he believes, in his view, that don't have enough backing. And he says that while that's the case, he's taken this matter to his lawyers and he will ensure that there is accountability. Well, that's according to Gwede Mantashe. We're still waiting for comments from the likes of, Member of Parliament and, of course, ANC member Cedric Frolic and the Deputy Minister of Defence, Thabang Makwetla, and, of course, Dudumyeni as well, who we do understand that she was also implicated in the part 1, where she was allegedly involved in state capture at SAA. So there's quite a lot that has to be dealt with here. And the report, quite details that while that's the case, it has also said that the issue of the president, right, being Cyril Ramaphosa, having allegedly received donations from Bosasa from his presidential campaign, was dealt with by the public reporter's report, and therefore they did not seriously investigate and look into the matter. And while that's the case, we also do understand that the public protector's report was set aside in court as well on this matter. So it will be quite interesting to see how this unfolds going forward, and whether law enforcement agencies will now have the beef and capacity to ensure that there's accountability. It looks like most of these office bearers, and of course some of these ANC members implicated in this report will now be going to court to ensure that they challenge this report as well.
All right, we'll leave it there, and I appreciate you bringing some clarity to this. Pule Letshwiti Jones, thank you so much for this.